Welcome back to Yoga Therapy Thursdays. This week, we're stretching out our hips. So for our first stretch, we're going to come into a comfortable seat, Sukhasana or cross-legged. You're going to sit up nice and tall, and then lean forward, roll to one side, all the way back to the other side, and coming back forward. You do a couple rounds in each direction, so make sure you go both ways. And just notice what you feel as you move through these giant hip circles. Once you've done a few rounds each way, switch the cross of your legs. I know for some of you that might feel really awkward and really weird, but it's for the best to get the most out of your hip stretch. Next, we're moving into deer pose. We did this as part of our mobility series, but now we're doing it as part of our stretching series. Depending on where you're tight, you could feel this in different parts of your body. Place the soles of the feet on the mat a little wider than hip distance apart. Your hands can come behind you and lower your knees the same direction. Here you might feel a stretch in your adductor on one side or in your adductors on the other side. You might feel it somewhere in between, maybe even in your hamstrings or in your quads. When you're ready, come back up to center and then switch sides. Back to center. We're going to move on. Now we're going to do pigeon pose. There are several different ways to do pigeon, but we're going to start with the one that you typically see in like a vinyasa flow class. This is the least accessible for most people, so don't feel like you have to be able to do this pose. The way I like to cue getting into pigeon is to start in downward facing dog. From down dog, shift your weight to one leg, reach the other leg high. As you exhale, take that knee towards the same side wrist and the ankle towards the opposite side wrist. You want to uncurl your toes and then maybe walk your knee back. Sit up nice and tall, and then exhale, you can fold. You can prop yourself with a block or a bolster as well. And when you're ready, you're going to lift yourself up and switch sides. Another approach to pigeon is to do the standing variation. This is something that's great to do after a spinning class, especially because you can hold on to your bike. So if you need to, hold on to the wall, a chair, a table, your spinning bike, whatever you need to keep balance during the stretch. I'm going to shift your weight to one leg, lift up the other. Flex the foot to protect the knee. The ankle goes above the knee, and then carefully sit your hips back. So if you're holding onto a bike, you can really lean away. If you're holding onto a wall, make sure you're nice and stable. And again, when you're ready, lift up, place the foot back down on the ground, and switch sides. A more accessible variation of pigeon pose is to start with your legs straight. Take one leg, bend the knee, and place the ankle above the opposite leg knee. Your hands typically go behind you. As you lean back, you walk your straight leg foot in until you feel sensation. When you sit up nice and tall, think about pressing this knee away. If it's here, that's fine as well. You go where you need to be. Keep this foot flexed and continue to breathe. When you're ready, slide that foot back down, release the leg, and switch sides. The most accessible version of pigeon is supine. From your back, take your ankle above the knee of the opposite leg. If you feel a stretch here, you can stop. You don't need to move on. When I think about flexing the foot that is lifted, and think about drawing the knee away from the body. You don't actually have to push your knee away, but you want to think about drawing it away. If it naturally wants to come in and a little hand to assist to push it back helps, and it doesn't hurt, go ahead and do that. To add more to the stretch, lift the bottom leg up off of the ground. You can use your arms to assist in pulling that thigh towards your torso. You can take this elbow, my hands are threaded through, so I can take this elbow and press that knee away to give myself a little bit deeper of a stretch. When you're ready, you can release out of the stretch. Another option for hip stretching is to come into this figure four supine. Then let everything fall to the side of the supported leg. This gets into a little funkiness, so just notice where you feel the stretch. This top knee, you want to think about allowing it to fall away from the body.
Some people end up finding it hiking up, and that's okay too. Just make sure you're noticing where you're feeling sensation. The foot that's hanging doesn't need to touch the floor. It can stay lifted and supported by the leg. Once you feel comfortable, take a few breaths, notice where you feel sensation, and see if you can relax and release into the pose. When you're ready, place your bottom foot on the floor, and then release the top leg back down.
Remember to start in constructive rest to release the psoas, move into hip mobility, strengthening, and then stretching. It might be starting to sound like a broken record, but that's how you're going to get the most out of these different poses and stretches and help relieve hip and low back pain. See you next week.